please welcome to the stage Aslyne Rodriguez, curious, resilient, driven.
In 1955, transportation was the biggest issue in the United States because in December of 1955, approximately 40,000 African Americans chose not to ride the bus in Montgomery, Alabama. And they've started the bus boycott. This local bus boycott turned into national consciousness that lasted over 381 days. And when it first started, it wasn't about desegregating buses. Actually, it was about hiring black drivers. It was about courtesy. And it was about a first-come, first-seat policy with whites entering in the front and blacks entering in the back. And what we've learned in this process is that there's a social justice aspect of transportation, but then there was also the dollars and cents parts of it, right? The economy. 70% of Alabama's bus riders were not getting on, which means they weren't paying for the bus, which means that they also weren't going to the local economy and sharing those dollars, right? And so when we thought about this, well, what happened? Now you can sit anywhere you want on a bus. But in Columbus, Ohio, that doesn't necessarily matter because we're the second most highest economically segregated city in the United States. And that comes with a color divide. And this isn't unique just to Columbus. Other cities see this as well. But what we know is the average commute is 20 minutes, and it usually takes 3 to 6 times that for people because they're not going to buildings that are gray, the old buildings that are downtown. Instead, these are now swanky lofts that cost $2,000. But instead, they're having to figure out a different way to get to their place, their entry-level job, where they're making around $10 to $18 an hour. They're going to the green spots, where companies are choosing to move further outside of the bus line. And public transportation can't be all things to all people. And when you build that building, it doesn't mean that the bus line all of a sudden just shows up there. So we have to think about how people are getting to these new locations that are further out. Because why? They're getting tax abatements. It's cheap. And they want to build the facility that they want to build. But now you're thinking about housing. Well, are we going to move people there? But what about their social network? Or are we going to transport people there and give them a dignified, efficient, and reliable way to get there in partnership with public transportation? Because this is about corporate responsibility, not just for entry-level and manufacturing and distribution, but this is also about professional workforce as well. These entry-level folks are working 12 hours a day on their feet for $10 to $20 an hour, riding the bus for 2 hours and one way and another. That's 16 hours. This is about access. Why can't we open the door for everybody? Why can't everybody walk through that door and have the equity to get to where they need to go? It shouldn't be a crime not to own a car in a city. And so when we think about this access, we're thinking about all people having this opportunity because it's about time too. We cannot get time back. It is an invaluable resource that does not get to be redone. And so how do we give people time? We're about efficiency. I'm sure a lot of you have Amazon Prime. You want all your boxes and you want it to come tomorrow, right? And you want your food delivered to you. Why? Because you want more time with the people you love. Also, it's not just about going further out, it's how we're coming in. We know that the downtown is getting crowded. We know that in the 2050 report is saying 1 million people by 2050, an extra million. That's 3 million in total, right? So what that looks like is single occupancy vehicles. How can we put people in shared mobility? How do we think about them getting out there if they don't have it? In an unreliable car where they're carpooling, that one person gets sick, and now 5 people don't show up to work, which impacts productivity, which impacts their sustainability and their livelihoods. Because this is also about this, about family, about that time. Let's go back to that. Giving that time to your family, we all want that. Doesn't matter how much you're making. You want to build that time so you have those bonds, so you reduce stress, depending on your family. And you really, really want to make sure that you build community. The other thing is you want to shop. You want to shop at your local grocery store, at your local stores. You want to help a local economy. The more time you have, the more access you have, the more you spend, the more our economy grows, the more we have parks, the more we give people opportunity to grow. So the idea for us at Empower Bus is that we're a microtransit social enterprise focused on upward mobility for all, meaning we provide dignified and reliable on-time transportation to education, healthcare, and work. And this is not, we are not looking to replace public transportation, and we're not looking to be a charter service. We're looking to be a partner to grow. We think about where people live. How do they cluster? We're calling them parties. Party of 14, your bus is here, party of 7. Where do people live? How can we pick them up? How can we make this efficient for them? In our first pilot we picked up new Americans in the Morris Road corridor and we took them to New Albany. Had they taken public transportation, it would have taken them 1 hour and 49 minutes plus 3 bus transfers for $13 an hour. Oh, and by the way, we offered education on our bus. Why? Because we believe it could be the magic school bus. How many of you listen to your podcasts? Why can't we educate people? Why can't we give them an opportunity to learn? And what does that look like when we think about turning that into technology? So what if we offered financial literacy, health and wellness, education, and work modules on tablets in the bus? What if we brought the grocery store to you? What if we took the back seat out, and when you got off of work, your groceries are there so that you don't have to worry about going to the grocery store? Oh, and we use the same technology that Google uses for their Google bus so that you know where you're going. This isn't about looking through the fence. This is about connecting the dots. This is about building a community through our social enterprise that sees people. We see where you live. We want to pick you up. We want to connect you. We want to understand where the transportation deserts are. Fill the gap. Help everyone out. Because everybody in this room can help us build this bridge. Everybody in this room thinks about your community on a daily basis. This isn't just about living. This is about thriving. This is about where people live, work, and play, and we hope that you think about Empower Bus when you're thinking about how to move people. Thank you.